Let's take a look at your work that you are writing and drawing.
Oh yeah. You got one of the old copies of number
So this
one.
is because it's small, right? The new ones are big.
Yep. Yeah. It bothered me whenever this first issue was the original print run was I used the same print shop that printed that X-Men comic.
Oh, okay.
And they did an amazing job with that X-Men comic. I mean, it really, the production looks so good, but and this one as well looks great, but they talked me into going with a smaller format to save money at the time, which is also, I was like, yeah, sure, that sounds great. When I decided to kind of print online just for speed or whatever convenience for the second issue, it bothered me that they would be different sizes. So I went back and have since made a number one or a part one that is standard comic book size.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind the fact that they're different sizes. In fact,
yeah, I mean, I don't know.
My issue 3 is digital that you sent to me.
Oh yeah.
Now I have it in 3 different formats.
Yeah. I'll send you a 3.
Okay. But you have to make it really small.
I will. It'll be like those mini comics.
Yeah. So how did this come about? Ruby and Rubbish?
So this was, I think the original story I was, before I started making comics semi-regularly, I was getting into problems with like where I would start a story and then get kind of into it and be learning at a fast enough rate to where I would hate the beginning pages by the time and I just kept like falling into this cycle, or I would move on to a different idea, I guess, get tired of the idea once I got a few pages in. This is why they always tell people don't start with like
an epic.
Yeah.
But
I had to kind of learn that. And so I had come up with the idea for a story it was called, I think, Pick Someone Else. And it was basically, it was around COVID, and I was probably watching a lot of American Pickers. And I was thinking about like someone who was a picker, but, they would see all these like antiques on different planets. So it wasn't just on Earth. And I got a few pages into that and then kind of abandoned the project. And a few years later was sitting around and thinking again. And I think this kind of sprung out of it.
Okay.
If you go even deeper, subconsciously, I remember my dad, there was a landfill that was, a few miles from my house. And I remember one time probably more than one time, he took me there because he either got tipped off by someone working there that there was a piece of furniture or something nice that had been thrown away that they kept for him, like set aside. So we went to get this, and I actually got to walk out onto the landfill.
Yeah.
And I found a stack of Mad Magazine issues.
Wow.
And they were still in good enough shape that I took those suckers home, man. And that was probably the first time I ever saw Mad Magazine.
Wow.
But just the fact that it came out of this, like it was this
somebody's trash.
Yeah, it was someone's trash. Again, like I was not thinking of this consciously ahead of writing it, but I can see it now, looking back, that it kind of permeated in some way, maybe.
Yeah. That's a trip. Yeah, I remember my uncle took me out to a landfill for some reason one time. It's just a bizarre experience if you're not used to it, and you'd only do it once or twice in your life, and it's just like this sea of stuff.
It is an interesting experience.
But,
now you're going to step on like hypodermic needles and
Yeah,
Yeah,
you gotta be careful. I remember picking up like rebar and throwing it at window panes. That was fun.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Just
Like
breaking stuff.
spearing it through glass and seeing if I could get it through the glass without shattering it.
Yeah, that's. Hey man, this was the '80s.
That's
This
exactly right. This was the
had to
80s. It
find
was a
something.
different time when
Yeah,
kids crawled on landfills.
yeah,
So we start out in this landfill. There's this crow here. We'll go pretty quick. I'm gonna stop
yeah.
stop me if you want to.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, sure.
you got this raccoon here eating things, but all of a sudden this sound goes off and his tail lights up with a light on it,
Yeah,
and you get here's
Ruby
this is
pops out of
rubbish.
the
This is
trash.
rubbish. And you
Yeah,
get Ruby popping up and calling for him, and you realize he's like choking on something, right?
yeah,
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 he does that a lot.
yeah. Yeah. It's uh, it's kind of noted that this is not the first time this has happened.
Right. Yeah.
Implied.
And we also find out that I guess through the tail, and they mention later that this is a robot raccoon.
Yeah, it's basically like a scav. It's a scavenger bot. In my head is kind of how I see it. And the alarm just is meant to alert to if it finds something maybe, or if there's
Yeah.
caution, trouble.
So it throws up whatever it had, and it throws up this like action figure that she
Yeah,
finds.
it turned out to be something actually decent. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like it's got the phantom limb, the glow in the dark skull, the sonic blaster, astro belt with working flashlight. Not the best shape, but it's all there. Hey, that's pretty good.
the dream.
Your figure work is just incredible, and it's you like I told you before, like your line work just has so much energy to it. It's
Oh, thank you.
I don't know how you capture it in this way that feels sketchy.
Hmm.
It feels super loose, but also has the energy, but also at the same time feels like it's exactly what you were going for, and it's and it is detailed and has like expression and charisma and everything in it. It's everything that you need, and even your lettering is your like
Ah, yeah, thank you.
automatopoeia is just,
Yeah,
you
it's just
got
kind
it,
of
man.
gestural, I guess, and I try to keep it, again, that process I talked about before, where I'm not overthinking it and reworking the same drawing too many times. And I also, it's taken me a while to just kind of get to a point where I'm like, okay, this is done. Like it's not perfect, but but it looks right. It's interesting,
Yeah,
which I
and
care a lot more about.
I mean, in a way, it is perfect. There's no
Hey,
such thing as perfection. What are you trying to
sorry.
do? Capture reality? Like that's first of all, we live in reality. Reality is pretty awful a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Nobody we look at comics to escape it for a minute. We want something different. We
Yeah.
want something that a human hand has created.
When I
And
tried drawing that way, and I got bored. It's just like,
and I don't want to read comics like that. It's
yeah.
so
Well,
boring.
if you're bored, if you can tell someone is bored, then it comes through. And
Yeah. The weirdest thing is that mainstream comics seem to have pushed it even further that way to this
Mhm.
like just it's
Yeah, and on
boring.
those
It's got no
elements
life to it. I don't want if I want to see a movie, I'll go see a movie. If I want to read comics, I want to read comics. I want them to be interesting.
yeah.
I would so much rather read, a big two comic with your style than almost anything on the shelves right now.
Oh well, thanks. But I am seeing it some in, like, if you look at Spider Verse and
It's creeping in.
the TMNT movie, like, was
Oh yeah.
it was not clean at all,
No, that was great. Yes.
which was
Yes.
made it more interesting. Yeah.
That was the movies realizing what makes comics good. Now we just need to make comics realize what makes comics good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
You know?
I think that there's so much potential for, not everything has to look the same. So,
Once in a while, a special project will get through, like that.
mhm.
That Beta Ray Bill book that was
Yeah.
out, and
Well,
like
Yeah.
you know, the Tradmore stuff and, you know, stuff that's off center, and that's off center is exactly what people crave. So
Yeah.
oh,
Well, and this, this is a book about trash, so it's like,
yeah.
how clean would
Right.
you make it? You know,
Right.
if you go back one page, Chris,
Yes. Yes.
from that
Oh
one,
yeah.
when you when you see this Astro Skull figure, I put in a little, isn't it Hordak? Uh,
Hordak? Where? Oh
Hordak.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He sure is.
As a Masters of the Universe fan, I just had to point that out to you.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. That was some
Thank
of my
you.
first toys too, so
Man,
I had to put that in there.
I've drawn him like 3 times now, and he's a one of the tough ones to draw.
I could see it.
His suit is weird.
Yeah.
So you got this crow that comes down and steals the action figure.
Toy, yeah, and that kind of gets things rolling, really. That's the like inciting incident kind of.
Right, right. So his eyes kind of turn into the time. They realize that they got to get back. She has a shop she needs to open, and that's what she's picking is for stuff for the shop.
Yeah.
She's got this sort of pod ship thing.
So this is probably again my story that I told you about that didn't go anywhere. Again,
right. I love that she puts the tape into the thing's mouth and it starts playing. Oh my god! And I love how the eyes have turned into the tape. Yeah.
I thought it'd be kind of fun if it could do this robot could do anything. There was a short-lived Thundercats cartoon called Thundercats Roar.
Mm-hmm.
They turned, Snarf, that little character, was kind of probably an inspiration in some ways for this raccoon for Rubbish, because he could do it. They had him like fly with his tail and all kinds of like jet propulsion in his tail and all kinds of crazy stuff. So
was that the one that was like super cartoony and like super high paced?
Yes.
Like give you a seizure high pace.
I loved that cartoon, but I don't think anyone else did, or a few people did.
I never got a chance to see
it. Now. It's been like erased from existence.
Has it really? You can't even find it anywhere?
Yeah, a lot of it's, the guy that took over, or the HBO, or is it HBO that owns Cartoon Network now, or?
I should know.
Anyways,
that.
Yeah.
A lot of consolidation happened around then. So
yeah.
This guy. So this is awesome. You see him, and he's clearly this like kind of like a cross between. I feel like a cross between Cable and like Deathlock.
Yeah, he's probably my Deathlock analog kind of.
Yeah, he's got this very like late 80s, early 90s awesome action guy thing going.
Yeah, I kind of put him in workout gear.
Yeah,
which
getting physical.
Yeah.
And then I saw his gun and I was like, "Oh, this is cool. You use the Nintendo gun as his like gun." And then you turn the page and it's because he's playing Nintendo.
Yeah. Because he has a fan. He's now like a retired family man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I thought was an interesting something I hadn't seen before, was like what happens to Deathlock when he's like,
done, retired.
A family man. Yeah.
Yeah. So his daughter is like watching him play and like she's annoyed with him. She just wants like a new
system,
and he's like playing with his one from the 90s, and the wife is like, he's talking about how the gun broke. He's like, "Well, you're half robot." I love this. You're half robot, Ronald. You're telling me you can't fix a toy gun? Well, I'm also part human, but I can't fix humans. I love that line.
That's one of those that I came up with on the page. Like, I do a lot of dialogue after I draw it instead of like in the script, like the original script. And yeah.
Love it.
But that becomes kind of a running joke with him, is the fact that he's part robot, but he's not good with machines.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was interesting. Take.
Yeah, he's an interesting character. I like this character that you developed with him.
No, thank you.
He uses the internet in his head to find out where there is another gun that he can go pick up, and the wife's like, "Here, take this with you."
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Anyone with kids, I mean,
Yep.
you'll understand. She's had enough.
So here's the Ruby's Relics, the shop. I love this shot. This got me. This shot of these like chickens pecking on the ground and this thing falling.
Yeah.
This looks like a perfect storyboard.
No, thanks. Yeah, that was one of those, like, I had almost that same shot in that original story of the picker, and so that's when I carried over in a way. I mean, it's different, but I was like, I need to kind of take those angles and stuff and repurpose.
So good. So she lands, and you see all the kind of stuff that she has. You go through all the, there's the Nintendo. She left
King
this
Burger glasses.
Yep.
Happy Meal type stuff.
Oh my God, yeah. Like all this nostalgia, all this crazy stuff that you'd find in like a antique store too. She'd been gone for a while, I guess, because she left a sandwich out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. At least a weekend or something.
Yeah, and there's this cockroach on it. She says, "Morning, Bernie." Well, you think, okay, well, this cockroach is, just maybe she just calls all the cockroaches in the place Bernie or whatever. But boof, no, it's his character, man. Look at that guy. So cool. Like, what is up with his nose? Like, I love it. It's so weird.
A character that has been in my head for decades. Like, it's not, he wasn't a cockroach originally, but he was this character called the Pest. Originally, that was going to be like, if he had his own like standalone before this book, it would have been that. And I've just kind of been drawing him in some iteration for a while, but I just kind of put him in here. It felt like he fit.
His eyes here, I just love him. So cool. So he's like a shit. He just eats trash, and he's like not a savory character.
Yeah,
he just hangs around.
Yeah.
It's
creepy vibes,
Yeah.
The cockroach. So
she stinks. So he's like, "Oh man, you smell delightful today. I could just eat you up." He nails him.
Yeah. And then even she's like, "Yeah, it smell pretty bad."
Yeah. So she's like, I better clean up before people come in. And then this guy comes in, and he's got like this Dr. Octopus suit on.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this guy's gonna be bad news. But it turns out he just wants to sell it to her to help her pick. He created it, and he's like, I'm gonna use the money to take my wife on a honeymoon. And she's like, oh, that's adorable. And so she's going to show her how it works, and it's fine. It's working fine. He picks up this thing, and then it shatters, and it starts going crazy, and he's like, can't figure out why it's going crazy. It knocks him out, so he can't turn it off. It grabs her by the neck. Nobody can stop this thing. It's like going to kill her, and all of a sudden you get zap, and then it's stopped.
Yeah.
And you think it's because he's like came in with his gun and saved her, but no, it just like the battery died or something, right?
Yeah, he's like, yeah, sorry.
Or that's what they think, right?
Yeah, it wasn't me. I couldn't risk waking the baby up, so
right.
And she's like,
yeah,
thanks.
It turns out that the cockroach guy ate some components inside of it, huh?
Yeah, crawled up in there.
Yeah.
So he's maybe, he's a creep, but he ends up saving her.
Yeah. So he's like, I hear you. I saw that you had a gun for sale. I was like, yeah, it survived this chaos, and he scans it. He's like, yep, it works great. And then the crows are back.
The crows come back, yeah.
And they take the baby now.
Yeah.
So he's out. He's popping his guns off, trying to shoot the crows down.
Which, maybe he realizes, that's probably not the best decision.
Yeah.
At a certain point,
She's like, all right, we'll get them back. I've got a bone to pick with the crows anyway, the action figure.
Yeah.
And that starts them off on their journey. And that's a great first issue.
Oh, thanks, man. I'm glad you said that. I don't. It's one of those things where, like, when I look back on it, I'm like, I wonder if I should have paced it a little bit differently because it felt like so much happened. But
No.
I've read a lot of first issues where they just kind of drag, and like by the end of the first issue, there's still nothing, that's happened.
Yeah.
So I wanted to pack it in. So
you did it. You did it. So then issue 2, we go in here and we got this crow's nest place, and we've got this guy who he also sells antiques.
Yeah. A lot of antique stuff. I was also, I think, at this time probably going to a lot of antique stores because I'm living in like a small town and there's not much else to do.
Small towns all have a million antique stores. I'm from a small town that has a billion of them.
Yeah.
I love going to them. I love going and finding the weirdest stuff.
So Crowsif Crowley is like the runner of the shop, and then this is assistant bot named Otto. Basically, became one of my favorite characters because he has a pencil sharpener for a head, like an old pencil sharpener.
So this cop comes in, and he's talking to him.
He's kind of like, there's been a lot of crow-related theft.
Yeah.
Recently, and we think you might have something to do with it.
Right. And he's like, no, not me. As this, as
he looks out the window and
there's the baby. So this guy's been training the crows to go and collect antiques and things and bring it back, steal things. And then you got Party Hardy Pizza here.
Oh yeah, and their house band. Crust Issues, who can only, I guess, sing pizza-related songs.
Yeah, I love it. Personal pan pizza.
Yeah, a lot of Thompson Twins influence here
so
too.
Good.
I listened to them at the time a lot.
So then you're introduced to Katski and Kitski.
And Kitski, yeah. I think I was also watching a lot of like Swedish crime stuff.
Okay.
Like there's some great ones on Netflix, by the way. But there was a character named Kiski or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Probably butchering it completely, but kind of had the idea for these two, just kind of, I don't know, like Nordic cats.
Sure.
Cat people, whatever. Again,
God,
this kind of, we'll talk about the heckler in another episode, but this kind of goes into my appeal of like stories that just kind of don't over explain anything.
Mm-hmm.
The world just kind of is. I mean, I appreciate that the turtles came from ooze, but if they hadn't included that would have been okay too. Like I don't necessarily need to know why this is a cat person,
Yeah. So, I think that's the reason that people of our age have gripes about what has happened with our Star Wars.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't need to explain any of that. We were fine just having it in our head. So everybody has their own reasons for it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just go with it. Like the theme with me, I guess, is I don't like to over-explain and I don't like to overdraw.
Yeah.
So that's
right.
This is what comes from it, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think I'm an over-explaining writer. I'm definitely an overdrawer.
Yeah. Well, this last panel is just kind of to fill in or remind the reader of what just happened with the first issue, because it was a year between these two issues. I mean, I've been putting these out for Heroes, and it's kind of a pace I've been able to just kind of manage for now. So
yeah. No, it's been great. Like one a year, you got a new one every Heroes. That's fine. That's okay.
Yeah.
So they go in and they're like the crows destroyed our rides too, and he's like, I don't know, and then he's like, I can help you. How do you feel about boats?
Yeah.
And then you cut to this other characters out on the golf range, and it's
Yeah.
this clown guy who, well, it's very reminiscent of the gangster in Heckler.
Yeah, he's kind of like Boss Glitter.
Yeah.
Um, again, not anything like consciously that I did, but I guess I kind of thought it would be funny that, with everything politically at the time, I was like, what if they, you find out this is the mayor, and it's like, what if this town is elected a actual clown,
Yeah.
as mayor? So
Right. Like a literal clown.
yeah.
Ronald McDonald for mayor.
Yeah.
So you got this like device that his ball went into the water, so he's got this device to find the ball, and as soon as he finds it, a crow picks up it and picks up
And
it.
takes
Wow.
off.
Woo!
Yeah.
And he's like, fascinating. Let's find out where that ball went to, because they got the tracker, right?
Yeah.
So I love this scene where the cop isn't really onto him, but he thinks that there's potential for him to be onto him, and so he gives him this. He's like, this Rory Troy, just a country boy on vinyl, and look at this cover. It's a dude with a shot deer.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, yeah, that seems like a
great country album cover.
Yep. I know people who have pictures like that in their house.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So just a country boy, and so he's like, oh wow, and it's signed. So he that's how he kind of pays him off to go away.
Yeah,
he's the assistant fighting with the crow.
Yeah,
I love it. And then he gets him out of there, but there's this line that he says.
Mm-hmm.
At the end, he's like, wait till the boys hear about this. This place will be swarming with cops.
Yeah. So maybe too good of a deal.
I thought that was so funny.
Thank you.
On auto, we were in deep, and the kid just keeps saying doo-doo.
Poo-poo. Yeah, doo-doo.
Poo-poo, yeah, poo-poo. Right. I love it. Yeah, and your figure work, man. It's just like you've got the body weight on everything,
Oh, thanks.
So they're on a boat, and they come to this big trash pile. Of course, the raccoon is psyched about that, right?
Yeah, he's kind of picking through some of it.
It's not supposed to be here. This is not the Pacific garbage
patch.
Yeah,
right? Which I think is an actual thing, unfortunately.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And of course, the raccoon grabs some trash and starts choking. And then you got these guys on these jet skis that kind of come up. And
yeah, these are jet skitos.
Yeah, jet skitos. Oh yeah, because the nose thing, right?
Yeah. They also kind of siphon gas.
Yeah, that's kind of what they're doing, and kind of taking whatever they got, right?
Yeah, they're pirates.
Right. It's like Waterworld or something.
Yeah, but on jet ski.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe Waterworld had jets. No, I don't remember.
It's like Mad Max meets Waterworld.
Yeah.
So this dude's get behind me. I'll take care of it. But then thunk, gets a dart in his neck, and he goes out. And they get on the thing, and they just start siphoning the gas. And they're like, "Is there anything on this boat?" And he's like, "No, we don't have nothing." So they're like, "All right, well, we're gonna take this robot raccoon. They can't go away empty-handed." They've got an antidote for the dart, and they'll give it to them if everybody cooperates, right?
Yeah, that's the idea.
So as they're hijacking him here, all of a sudden these seagulls come and start pooping on them, right?
Yeah, I wish I would have put some sound effects on there, but I remember being under the gun with this issue, and it's one
Well,
of those hindsight things.
yeah, of course. It's comics. You got to kick them out the door. When you,
Yeah. Well, I was trying to hit that Heroes deadline,
I
man.
know.
I think
I
this
get
was
it.
yeah.
You know what? Nobody misses it.
Well,
It's just
yeah.
you. It's just you in hindsight. So, yeah, they start kind of like the
Kind of
cats
turned
start
the
clawing
tables.
at him. They start taking him out. They beat him back, and it turns out it wasn't actually poison, right?
Yeah, it was basically like anesthetic, or they put him to sleep
Right. Like, oh, you just took a
temporarily.
nap.
What's that?
So they were like, oh, you were just taking a nap.
Oh yeah, yeah. You were
Like,
napping.
I'd love to take a nap. And then we go back to the crow place, and somebody knocks on the door, and they open it. Oh, it's the clown mayor.
Yeah.
And he realizes that they followed the ball there because they had the GPS on it. And they're kind of trying to hide the baby here.
Yeah, they had the place all closed up, um, you know, but then his compelling argument of, "But I'm the mayor."
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Just
very
couldn't
compelling.
win, I guess. Uh, so yeah, he's trying to hide him in this side room, I guess, keep him quiet.
So yeah, he's like, down, no. So he yanks the cord out of his head.
Mm-hmm.
Makes all this crazy noise back there. And he's like, oh, it's just my very loud assistant being very loud. And then, finds the ball. Fascinating. It's kind of his catchphrase. And then the baby comes out. Well, what do we have here?
Yeah, so the golf ball has already ended up back here.
Man. Issue 2.
Issue 2.
And third format.
Oh man. This one, yeah, just came out this year. This is the newest, the latest.
I love it. And then your color palette has changed a bit here too.
Yeah, thanks. This was supposed to be a flashback.
Oh,
so I want to do a little something different with that.
That's why the color palette would change.
Yeah. So
No, I like it. It feels like a flashback, right? Oh yeah, because it's right. It's the crow who owns the store, right? And
this is him back when he was like had a warehouse, I guess.
Right. And the crows are kind of stacking the boxes for them, right?
Yeah. And this is his kind of inventory bot. Then who's like, they're stacking them too high.
Yeah.
It's not safe.
I don't pay you to advise for safety advice, but then he slips and falls and smashes.
Yeah. No one saw that coming.
No.
And he's like, this will put us behind schedule.
Yeah.
It's a pity. And then now we're in present day and see these kind of like balloon goons is what I call them. Mm-hmm. I just thought it would be fun to have like two characters that could be up there defacing a billboard and then just drop their like
bodies. Yeah.
Float off.
I love it.
Thank you.
So elect Al Hammersham for mayor, and then they put total and
Scam.
Then scam. Yeah. And then we go to this barge that's off of the, you see the billboard in the background, but then this garbage collecting barge is a tiki trash. So you get this tiki guy running this barge, and he picked up our main players off of the ship because the gas was siphoned out of it, right?
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. And that's kind of what
flashback here.
Yeah. Here's the catch-up kind of portion. But this is maybe the world's only trash boat / party boat, driven by a trash bot, I guess.
That's a really torn captain trying to figure out what he wants to do with it.
Yeah.
I want to party, but I also want to pick up trash.
Well, that's basically what he says. He's like, I don't let it define me that I'm a trash bot. I like to party.
That's right. And he's like is it a trash can
Yeah, it's just a trash can.
with a tiki thing painted
Face.
on
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
Which again, I could go more into his backstory one day, but maybe
You
not. I
don't need
don't
to.
know.
Yeah, I'd say leave it. Just keep going. Unless you
He's-
really have something you really want to say with
yeah,
them.
no, I don't think so. And she's been kind of in the back, like digging through the trash and
Mm-hmm. She found some
finds
other action figures.
and this is something new that I added to this one, looking at old Deathlock comics, and it was like the computer, that he's like analyzing things, and then the computer in cyberware or Ronald's head is kind of like, so he's picking up all these contaminants,
Right.
as as he's pulling this. I guess that's like an air fryer.
Yeah, an air fryer. Yeah. Snacks are ready, but it says contamination detected on all of them. These fish
Yeah,
sticks.
yeah, and then her
He tries
hands
to
are
stop
still,
her.
and she's basically like, "Lay off me, I'm starving." So
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
does
Yeah.
it anyway. He was trying to look out for her, but she wasn't having it. So
Yeah, you can tell like so this is like 2 years after the first one.
hmm
So you can see the evolution in your style a little bit, but then definitely in your colors.
yeah, this was. I always try to do some kind of. I played with like a for the colors. I played with a different kind of brush that was a little less clean, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So it gives a nice kind of, like in this, I wanted the lights of the police car to kind of, I don't know, play off that background color,
Right.
uh,
Yeah. Yeah. I
and
can
break
totally tell
up
what you were
in
going
a
through with
way.
it. Yeah. Yep.
So I didn't want it to be too harsh, but it had to be kind of grungy at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. I've had to color something. The very first book I ever drew, I tried to color like that, and I did not pull it off. It's a hard one to pull off.
Oh,
But you,
really?
you got it. Yeah. It's. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. It's kind of, you have to kind of just be okay with where you know, how far you push it, I guess. Like you have to be okay with stopping here and
Yeah.
not filling the whole space or
Right.
it being super clean transition. She's basically catching everybody up that he found this baby, and what she's trying to, the media is kind of turning it, or maybe the mayor is turning it into like a human trafficking,
Mm-hmm.
theft with the
Yeah.
crows and the shopkeeper and stuff, and he's basically saying like his opponent, that Hammersham guy, who's
Mm-hmm.
he's running up against, would say he's not a family man, but he's going to do everything to reunite the child and its family.
Right. And you just looking at him, you don't trust the guy.
Yeah, well, yeah, you can't with that face.
Yeah. But then you got the crows, you're just watching him.
Yeah,
So they're off to see the wizard here. They've made it to port, and she's like, I need to get that fish sticks made me thirsty. I really need a drink at a place. I guess I'm gonna go here in the fish and chips place.
yeah. She's trying to play it off like
Yeah.
like that fish stick didn't just
Yeah.
cause some problems.
So she busts in. She's got to be sick.
Captain Namos, yeah.
Paying customers only. She's with me, pal. He looks at the menu and it's like everything on there is contaminated. Contamination detected.
The whole restaurant is just like covered in, which is, I'm sure, what you would actually see in most cases.
Oh yeah, yeah, totally.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to. But then he catches this news report
Mm-hmm.
and learns, hey, the baby is here, so it might be easier than I thought to get him back.
Yeah,
and this is just kind of a little parting gift for Rubbish, and he also is having him record a message for
Right.
him, which is another one of his, robot scavenger abilities, I guess.
And then we jump again.
Yeah, onto a
The
different
Cascades. I
couple
love
seconds.
this panel.
Thanks. Thank you. That one I definitely use some reference for because I had to
Sure.
get that,
You got to use reference for stuff, sometimes. So this guy has
He's got a espresso like coffee
espresso
maker
head.
Yeah. This is one that we actually have in our house. It's called a Francis.
Uh-huh.
And I was just like, man, that would make it. My whole shtick, I guess, is just like, what if this guy had this for a head?
Yeah. Just pick the strangest things, most comforting things.
Anything. Yeah, you basically don't, this guy comes home and this robot is kind of like his butler or something.
Right. Trying to be hip.
Yeah, and you just learn that they're going, he says, we're going to go out.
Right. I shall get my hat, or I will get my hat. So they show up at the mayor's mansion. There's this robot here, check in.
The gatekeeper.
Yeah.
And he tries to explain to him that his child is inside, and this gatekeeper is like, I'm happy for you, or sorry that happened, which means he's basically not even listening.
Right.
Or, it doesn't matter what he said at that point. Like, he has orders, So
he's like, I'm not mayor, I will not be leaving without my son. He turns on, and then all of a sudden these big ones come up behind him.
Yeah, these like sentinel guards. He says he's going to have to ask him to leave, basically. And
yeah, like, negative. His robot side turns on.
Yeah.
I love this arm. I love this robot arm with the negative space for the gadgets.
Yeah, gadgets, implied gadgets. There's also implied pockets back there on the.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Yeah.
Yeah. Gotta have pockets.
Gotta have something to put your glasses in.
Yeah, these guys are almost like the use of the negative space for the gadgetry is almost like Warlock-like,
Oh yeah, I can see that.
So it beats the living crap out of them there.
Yeah, and then you kind of learn that somebody's on to the mayor has been dumping trash and to the water. He's there was like implications that he was not cleaning up the town, but he was sweeping everything under the rug, and is having like, it just taken somewhere else, basically.
Yeah. I love this. Sir, there's a problem at the gate. It'll have to wait. I'm busy being blackmailed at the moment.
Yeah. Someone has footage, so he's been caught.
This is great. Boom, the reaction, the smoke clearing, and then you get this shadow, the silhouette with the light beam. Mm-hmm. Oh man, you did such a great job on that.
Oh, thanks, man.
Where's the boy? Fetch the child, Harold.
Yeah, and here he's basically saying he should be mad, but he's impressed, the mayor. But he'll basically look the other way if he helps him like deal with this blackmail problem.
Right. So he's like, I don't do that anymore. Oh, I see.
And then in true like wrestler fashion, he extends his hand. He's like, I should at least get a handshake, right, for saving your son.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Takes him out. Never trust a politician with a weak handshake.
He's got the buzzer, And that's that, man.
Dude. Now I got
I
to
know
wait a whole
they're-
year for Heroes Con again before four comes out.
I'm really trying to get.
No.
So in fact, I was going to try to make it one issue to wrap up the arc, but it would have been like a double-sized issue, so it's going to be two more.
Two more before it's wrapped.
Yeah, so 5 issues in this arc, at least. But I'm going to try to get both of those done this year. So.
Nice. Well, I mean, it's not easy to have a day job and be a passionate comics creator.
Yeah.
One has to come before the other, and it's always a battle of which one has to come before the other.
Yeah. And I want it to, I want to put the time in that it needs, like, especially with I've made the mistake too many times of drawing before the story was ready. So
yeah,
I'm making sure I get that, because it makes things go much more smoothly whenever you have that like nailed down before you start drawing. So
that's a good point. I was always kind of, I'm sure there's a lot of people that you get excited to get going on it, and you have the bones of it, so you just start going.
You get
then all of a sudden you find out, oh no, I've found there's this loophole in my logic that isn't going to work for the rest of the story, and what the hell am I supposed to do now? I got to fix that.
Yeah, and sometimes you just get going because you're like, I'll fix it later. It's fine. And then you're like, writer me is a real like jerk sometimes. I've tried to be better about, because I don't want to run into like starting a story and then not liking it, and having to change it and waste that time. So
yeah, that's true. Is there anything that you like learned along the way from like other creators or anything in your storytelling, like little rules or anything that you apply for yourself when you're laying things out or telling a story that you can think of?
I'm thinking maybe I adopted this from Scotty Young. I can't remember, but at some point for writing, I was making it too complicated originally. And I've gotten to a space where I kind of will basically just in the notes app or something, I'll outline my script, and I'll just do like in the beginning stages, I'll number like 1 to 24 or something. So each page, and I'll basically do a sentence of what I want to happen on that page. And then I kind of flesh that out a little bit more and so on, to break it down to like each panel.
Sure.
And then from there, dialogue, but then I still like to leave a lot of dialogue for after I'm done. So that's made I can kind of like wrap my head around that. Starting that way, I can wrap my head around the story better, and also see like if I'm pacing it correctly or in a way that feels natural. Like I don't want to jump around too much and when I don't have to, but also, you need those areas to kind of breathe and like build a little bit of suspense before something else happens. So that helps me kind of do that. And like influence wise with art, I've lately been looking at like, Jim Mahfood and there's a guy named Warwick Johnson Cadwell who's done some great stuff. He's done a lot of stuff in the like Mignola-verse.
Okay.
He had a story called Helena Crash. But looking at them for inspiration helps me kind of stay loose and not worry so much about, not overthink things.
Sure. Yeah. Knocking it out and repeating it,
Yeah, exactly. And I just love the energy that and it's fun. It's interesting stuff. I want to keep that kind of appeal, like that energy into my work. So,
Yeah, you've definitely got it, and that's what really stands out with your stuff to me. I think it was like Thelonious Monk or something said about jazz that, you know, it's not wrong if you it's not a mistake if you do it twice, you
Yeah.
know. And there's something to that with like comic art and energy where, you know, if it this thing that is like almost sketchy or loose becomes part of your style, and it's
Yeah.
repeated, and it, you know, it's the language of your work, then it builds up into this energy. Now, like, Monk was right in one way, but like you had to also be like on the level of Thelonious Monk to make
Oh,
you know, to you have to have the talent, you have to have everything behind it before you can start to allow yourself to relax is
yeah.
what it is. It's
Yeah. You have to
allowing
get,
yourself to relax into the work and let your mind and body make the work, you
yeah.
know.
Yeah. You have to get that comfort and like
Hmm.
that confidence, that comes from just, doing it,
Yeah,
the repetition,
yeah, absolutely.
because I remember people when I would just do fan art and put it online, there's a lot of people that'd be like, great sketch, and
Yeah,
I'd be like, it's, I mean, I
it's
understand what they're
done.
saying, but I'm like, it's finished.
Yeah,
No, I mean, uh, so I understand people see that differently, but in my mind, I was like, this is I'm done. Like this is as far I want to take it. Like I wouldn't do anything more if I could.
you
So,
don't need to. There's no
but
need to.
yeah, but earlier me
Yeah,
might have, I'd have been like,
right.
ooh, yeah,
Yeah.
maybe it's not finished enough. So,
Well, man, I'm a big fan of your work.
well,
Um,
likewise, man.
I think,
Likewise.
thank you. I can't wait to see more. I can't wait to see what else you do with Ruby Rubbish. I can't wait to see what you do with the more X-Men bootleg stuff, and whatever else you're working on. So I'm just excited to see more of your stuff and watch your career grow. You know, so
Well, thank you, man. It means a lot that you asked me on to talk about all this. So I
please, it's an
appreciate
honor. Thank
it.
you.
Thanks.
Um, so where can people find you?
So you can find me on most social media at Sketchbrooks. Um, if I'm on there, it'll be Sketchbrooks.
Okay.
Uh, and then my website is sketchbrooks.com. Um, I've I've converted my email over to a Substack
Okay.
because
Yep.
there's a lot of things that it's made easier. Just kind of
Yes.
now getting into that, and so
Same.
you can also find me uh, at Sketchbrooks on there, and I
Great.
do try to do a lot more kind of in-depth stuff on there that wouldn't have the room for or want to waste the time on social on social media. So yeah, that's it.
Great. All right. I'll put links to all that stuff in the show notes. And yeah. Well,
Thank
thanks
you.
for coming on, man. I really appreciate it.
Oh
And
yeah, my pleasure, dude.
some great episodes. And we'll talk to you later.
Thanks for talking comics with me, man.
Thanks for coming on. Later.
Later.
Join my Patreon to see my work before anyone else. Plus, score physical sketchbooks, mini comics, and commissions delivered right to your door. And reading my new books, Something Seems Off and Three-Headed Pigman, as they are made. Go to my website to order original art, commissions, and my books, Lost Angels, Spectral: A Showcase of Fear, Chaotic Neutral, and more. Gray Matter Drip, The Art of Chris Anderson is available now from Cosmic Lion Productions. Here are the upcoming conventions I'll be at the time of this recording. And don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. It helps spread the word. Thanks.